Welcome to the Artosis Hour number 6. Thank you for coming. We're going to be doing more Liquid Ret replays today from his replay pack. I guess we'll just go ahead and get into this first game. Sorry, I'm just a little bit out of it this morning. I did not get much sleep. But anyways, here we go. The first game, this is going to be against I'm Poopy. I don't know who that is. Maybe I Am is also a team in Korea. In Europe or something like that. I've never heard of this guy, but it's in Ret's replay pack, so I guess we'll go ahead and take a little look-see at that. Right. The map is, as we see here, Shattered Temple, and well, Shattered Temple. It's cross spots, so that's good. If it was like close by air or something, that would make it as nice. Apparently this player thinks he's a chobo. Just a little conversation going on. Anyways, let's fast forward and try to get to something interesting here to look at. Early game, oh wait, something interesting's happening. Okay, so Ret's opening looks completely standard. You know, he's going hatch first, making a drone behind it. How many drones will he make behind it? That's an important thing to look at. In the meantime, Poopy is going for 2 barracks play, and I like that. I'm glad that people are starting to do that a little bit more again. I feel like this is a great map for 2 barracks play. I don't like, particularly fast Hellions on this map. It's not quite as good because what do Hellions do? They stop the creep spread, they give you map presence and map control, and they delay the third base of Zerg. But on this map, if you make a little, you make your standard defense here and the Hellions sit here, yeah, they stop creep spread, but Zerg, if they want, can go ahead and kill rocks and expand up here, and those Hellions don't do anything against that. So I feel like this is probably one of the worst maps to go for reactor Hellion openings on. So another one that is going to give you some control, give you a little bit of pressure, is a 2 barracks opening. So I actually really like that choice here by I'm Poopy. What a funny name. Anyway, so Ret, his pool a little bit late, a little bit greedy, but that's Ret's style. He likes those drones, he likes to get a lot of them as early as possible, and he's going to know pretty much how to deal with this, but we'll see exactly how well he does. He's going to have to bring just the right amount of drones. He's hiding it pretty well so far. Ret doesn't really have any idea that this barracks is back here. He has not scouted it. And just one Marine is chasing away the drone, and that's really good. If he starts bringing down additional Marines to try to kill that drone, then Ret is going to be a lot more on top of it, maybe make more lings or something like that. Maybe start a spine crawler. But since he's chasing it away, that's going to be it's basically just going to make it harder for Ret. You want to stop them from seeing it until the last possible second. Let's go ahead and slow this down a little bit. And here we go. Some SCVs are coming as well. And Ret, with this amount of drones, is thinking, okay, this is just a very light pressure with a few Marines. Still doesn't really know that this is, a bunch more SCVs are on the way, and it's just 2 barracks rallied over. Let's take a look. No gases or anything like that. So this isn't, he's still building SCVs, not really all in at all. Yeah, he does have 4 SCVs with it, which makes it a little bit more risky, but it gives it some more power as well. It's a fine choice. So let's go ahead, we'll have to slow this down a little bit and really look at this, the micro that's going on. Okay, and making this right at the bottom of the ramp, this is a cool location. The reasoning for that is the surface area here that can be attacked. Yeah, it's not all that much. If he makes it, let's say, right there, then the Zerglings can get all around it right away. This way they have to go around in this direction. It blocks off a lot of the area where the SCV will be building it, so it's going to be a lot harder to actually kill. And look, he is going to make another one closer so he can hit this. This is, this is the bunker that's going to give him stability. This is the bunker that's really going to punish Ret. So that's the plan, at least. And with these Marines, let's say they stand back here, Zerglings have to go all the way around to get them. Or, with this bunker here, they don't just have to go around like that to get the Marines. They have to walk all the way around. And, that's huge. These Marines are going to just cut up Zerglings because of this. This is just really, really nice bunker placement by I'm Poopy. Now, Ret does have 6 lings on the way as well as 2 queens. This queen, which is pretty important, we see. Not quite halfway done. Will Ret start a spine crawler? I'm almost feeling like he's probably going to need one this game. but we'll see in a second here. Alright, so really, really good placement. And, okay, so a little tiny bit of a mistake, it seems like. I feel like these Marines really should be pressed up against the bunkers so that when Lings run down, they get free hits. He didn't do that. He's kind of running back and forth with these. It looks like he's kind of, you know, playing a micro game with these drones. But these drones are not coming over here to do anything. The Marines can eat them way too quickly. So I would say that that's a slight mistake. He may have been able to kill a Zergling, maybe damage the other even. If he had put these Marines right up against that. And as soon as you start picking off a couple Lings with a build like this, it spirals out of control really quickly for Zerg. So, see, still not really doing that, unfortunately. The SCV's, like, in the way. The Marine's not doing anything, in fact. He could have hurt a lot of stuff by now. And the bunkers look like they will finish, though. Now, Rhett has started a Spine Crawler. Good choice. He is getting speed. Will he continue to mine gas? It's hard to say. He looks like he has one still on there. And that may be just so he can switch into Banelings or Roaches if this goes bad. You know, just have a little bit of gas saved up. You know, with those Queens, he's going to be able to obviously produce a lot. And I like the Spine Crawler placement. You know, if you put it like here, for instance, you know, maybe this is the place where it starts hitting the bunker when it finishes. But the Marines are going to do a little micro game where they keep on trying to hit it. So basically, he's trying to morph a full hit point Spine Crawler, and he's going to move that up as he attacks in with all his Lings to try to help out. So the Larva Injects start. Finally, the bunker does finish. And still no real damage being done, and there you go. So this does range into that. It's a really well-placed bunker in that way that he can actually start hitting the hatchery. Again, he could have killed maybe 3, maybe 4 Zerglings even if he had been a little bit more careful with his Marines before, and that would have obviously put him in a much better spot. Right now, 18 SCVs against 17 drones, so economically speaking, our Terran player is doing very well. Don't forget he does have 4 here, but he has mules at home, so that's going to help out a lot. Now, Rhett, 8 Zerglings already out, 2 more in production, just an Overlord. He'll probably make nothing but Zerglings for a little bit. He needs a lot of damage to get rid of these bunkers, especially with 4 SCVs here. He's really going to have to surround, he's going to have to target down SCVs. And if you don't have an overwhelming amount of Zerglings when you try to break out of these bunkers, then you are in super trouble. That is, the worst thing you can do is attack with something that's not overwhelming here, because then the cost efficiency of the bunkers goes through the roof. Let's take a look. Spine Crawler is still building. Everything's looking pretty good. I really like that move right there to bring these back Marines out. He doesn't really need them in the bunker right this second. So he's bringing them up to start harassing. You know, even putting some damage on the Queen can be very helpful, because obviously the Queen's going to help during the battle. Just doing anything extra, getting as much damage as he can in the entire time. Now this Queen is coming over. It doesn't look like it can range anything from the high ground. Like if this bunker was there, that would be a beautiful and brilliant move, you know, to have the Queen over here hitting it from the high ground where it can't be seen. But he may just be deciding to bring the Queen down when it's time to actually go for the battle. Just have a little bit more extra damage, and of course, being a range unit, Queens may be able to help pick off SCVs. So, Rhett keeping his Queen alive, of course. Doesn't want to lose that. Does not want to move this Queen down quite yet. Has to wait. All these Marines over here, this is starting to look really scary. Now, this is really nice here to move this into position. In fact, I'm Poopy is messing up a little bit here. What should be happening as soon as he sees a Spine Crawler coming forward is he needs to be popping out Marines and going after the Spine Crawler. You must immediately. It takes a long time for a Spine Crawler to actually burrow, so you can actually pop out all your Marines. I mean, look how many Marines he has here. He has 8 in the bunkers, and he has 1 here, so that's 9. And even when this first started to move over, he had at least 7 here. And against this many Zerglings, I mean, he can walk up, start hitting it, and then the Zerglings come over, then you start to step back, and if the Zerglings follow you all the way, you get in the bunkers, and then Zerglings start going down. And then the second Zerglings turn on, you pop everything out, you chase them until they run far enough away, or they chase you again, and then you just keep picking them off. But if the Zerglings don't come over, then you get to deal a lot of damage to the Spine Crawler and perhaps even kill it. So that's a huge mistake that I'm Poopy has made. It feels to me like just letting this burrow is terribly wrong. I mean, he needs to do that. That's the only thing really going on in the game right now. Looks like he did tell an SCV to build a command center in the meantime, so that's nice. You know, I would prefer that he make it on the high ground, just because, you know, floating it down, it's going to be a little bit more safe. What if Rhett does break out of here and runs over here with a bunch of speedlings or something, and then you have to cancel your command center? This is like overly greedy. When you're ahead, make sure that you don't do anything too greedy, because this is something that Rhett may be able to come back because of. I have no idea. I haven't seen the replay. But those are just two things I want to point out right now about I'm Poopy's play. 10 more lings on the way, the speed. Rhett's doing everything right. It's just I'm Poopy is not executing this rush properly. Okay, there we go. Finally going after it. And here come the Zerglings like I was saying before. No real reason not to pop out these Marines as well. And it is a bit late. So he's dealt 40 damage to it. And the Zerglings are already over here. But, you know, it could have been more. And now we have a Spinecrawler that's in the equation. Right, so, oh, I like trying to snipe this queen. If you can get a queen, of course, it's so nice. The other queen looks like it's coming down. So, 8 more lings on the way. It looks like Rhett is getting ready to try to break this. I don't know how well this is going to work, especially if these Marines get back in here. Of course, this Marine should not be up getting hit by a Spinecrawler, but if this Spinecrawler is targeted on the bunker, then that's a fine move. But you don't want to lose any Marines to this. It's better just sit that Marine behind and deal extra damage when the Lings and Queens come up. Alright, so we'll go ahead and... Alright, so Rhett not yet going for the break. That's a good move to not yet go for the break. That would not have worked. And in fact, this is... Okay, so here we go. He's bringing down his drones. He has a lot of lings. This queen on the high ground is going to come down. This queen, not going to even bring him to the battle. Good choice there. I don't feel he should. He's basically going at the last possible second to try to save the hatchery. And now the Terran player has to decide exactly what to do. I think, you know, well, I know that the best choice right now is for him to right-click on this hatchery and just make sure that he takes it out. And he is not yet doing that. It looks like he wants to get like a complete victory here where he kills absolutely everything. But leaving that hatch alive is basically the worst thing you can do. I feel like it's much better to kill off that hatch than to kill perhaps a few more lings. But, you know, killing off lings can be very important right now as well, because he is making his command center on the low ground. And he doesn't really have any tech to speak of. So that counterattack could be scary. But speed is almost done. A lot more lings are going to be on the way, no doubt. Yeah, he needed to target down that hatchery. Well, it looks like Rhett barely saves this hatch. And in fact, he may not even. A lot of very hurt Marines there. And it looks like that hatch would it actually go down? Yeah, okay, so he does finally get it. So this was a pretty successful rush overall. Let's look. 9 drones left and 5 lings with 1 queen that's sitting all the way down here. For Poopy, he's got 7 Marines and 17 SCVs. So, I mean, he is worlds and worlds and worlds ahead right now. And, you know, he could have been even more ahead. Probably the game could already be over if he had executed the bunker rush completely properly. But he's just so far ahead here. But it's in the Rhett replay path, and I'd be surprised if Rhett somehow wins this game. Alright, so speed is done. What is he going to be making? He is making some more lings. Now this, I have to point out, I was hoping in the back of my mind that Rhett would do this. He has a queen sitting down here that has a lot of energy, and he throws down 2 creep tumors. This is such a good idea. And you might be thinking, oh, why do you really need creep down here right now? Well, Rhett's in a terrible spot. What are things that he can do right now to start trying to recover? One of them definitely would be spreading his creep some. He's going to obviously have to remake this hatchery to go into a longer game, but this gives him some sort of edge. You know, his Spinecrawler can stay down here in a position. He can start getting his creep out there. And it's a useful thing to do. You know, by the time the queen gets up here, it'll almost have enough energy for an inject anyways. His economy's shattered. Does he need the inject right away? Not really. He has 3 larvae up here, and he has these 4 down here. And I really want to see him use these 4 before they wander off creep that's receding or something like that. That's definitely something I do want to see. So we'll see if he does end up using that. Alright, so Poopy is done with his expansion command center, just adding the third barracks, flying the other one in here. Everything looks pretty good overall. Again, the command center, no reason for it to be on the low ground right now. And in fact, he's going to have to lift up and bring it back to the high ground. Alright, let's take a look at what Rhett's doing. Okay, there we go. I was about to have to yell at him about these larvae. You want to use the larvae that are going to go die off the creep. A lot of pro gamers don't do that, and that's a waste. And looks like he just used some of the main ones first. Not a big deal, as long as he ends up using those larvae before they go away, because it's such a waste. Larva is like another resource for Zerg basically, so it's really good for him to use that. All right, so he is spreading his creep some. Very smart, very good. There, he used every single larva there. Very important. Going to leave a drone down here to take that expansion with. And notice how he's really focusing on creep spreading right now. Because he realizes, well, damn, I don't really have much to do right now. I'm in trouble. I've lost my hatcher. I've lost a lot of drones. I've lost a lot of lings. I've lost a queen. Everything's looking bad. The one thing that he can make look good is the creep. I don't know why my scroll is working today. It wasn't working other days. I always fidget with that mouse. But I really, it's these small things that can end up making a difference. And I would bet my bottom dollar there's going to be, this creep is really going to help him out later on. You don't expect to see the creep out in a situation like this, but it's very nice. And even another spine crawler on the way. So let's see, what has Rhett actually scouted here? Nothing really. Of course, we can see that he is going double factory, and Rhett throwing down the second spine crawler. Now, why would this be? Do you think he's going for, anti-Hellion? It could be. That would not be a bad choice at all for Poopy, because the odds of Rhett going Roach right now, very, very slim. Roaches take a ton of resources to actually get going. They're very supply heavy. You have to make a lot of overlords. It costs gas and minerals. You don't really want to do that. He's very low on larva. Doesn't want to make a lot of lings. So, well, spine crawlers. These are going to help against any marines that come, any Hellions that come. It's just a good choice. It's very low on larva, and for the power it has defensively, it's a great deal compared to lings or roaches. Because, he's not going to get offensive anytime soon. He knows that he can't do that. If he does, it's an all-in. So Poopy just playing it safe, and I like this. I think it's, I think it's very smart of him to go ahead and slowly move out, move down, make bunkers, play safe, because, a lot of Zergs in a situation like this will do something like a Baneling or Roach all-in. So that's really quite nice. Now, Poopy moving out with the Marines, not a bad choice either. It might force more lings from Rhett, and that's something that Rhett can't afford to do right now. Looks like Rhett wants to probably take down these rocks. A good choice as well. He's already pushing his creep out here. That may be another way that he tries to get back into this game, is taking the gold base and really utilizing those gold minerals as best he can. Rhett has droned up really nicely. Look at that, 27 drones against the 27 SCVs. That's a big deal to try to get his economy up as quickly as possible. And in fact, he's already remaking a queen so that he has a queen to go down to this hatchery immediately, really get that production going. Alright, so just a little pressure, it's all good. Rhett's starting to push his creep in multiple directions. That's very nice. That's going to make him feel a lot safer. Still working on those rocks. Oh, and a Baneling nest. Okay, so not a terrible choice. If some strong marine attack came or something like that, the spines alone aren't going to stop it. Just to have the Baneling nest and this much creep, he may be able to defend things. But we can go over here and look, and it's 2 factories with Blue Flame on the way. So, Lings and Banelings against proper micro are not going to do that much. But at least he's got that creep out there. He's already got the couple spine crawlers. This is not necessarily a game ender, especially if Rhett realizes how many Hellions are on the way and that they're going to be Blue Flame. He's making some more lings, just probably for some defensive purposes right now. Let's take a look at exactly what Rhett can see. What has he seen exactly? I'm not sure that he's seen any Hellions thus far. Nice rally point there, where it's going to be very difficult to actually scout out what's happening. And it looks like Poopy, in fact, is going for stim as well. So looks like we're going to see, a Marine Hellion bust timing. And, I guess you have to have Banelings against that. The Banelings, obviously, if they connect with anything, it's going to be very powerful. But this is going to be a very hard attack for Rhett to actually hold off. Okay, I really want to talk about this for a second. He is going up to Lair, and I wonder if he is going to go heavy Speedling Baneling, because when you get behind, if you go into Muta, it's hard to force a comeback with just Mutas unless you're way ahead of your opponent multitasking wise and stuff like that. Like if he really drops the ball, because even at a normal timing, Terrans at high levels are good at deflecting Mutas. They're a very useful unit. It's still very good to make. You still are going to do damage, but they're pretty good at deflecting it. So if they come extra late and in smaller numbers, it's going to be really hard to actually do anything against that. So if he goes heavy Ling Baneling and gets Baneling speed right away, I'm really happy with that, because if you do that in Terran missteps, you can kill an army, maybe 2 armies, and really that's what it takes to get back in this game right now. Because again, Poopy is still far ahead, but if Rhett crushes an army, like crushes it, just surrounds it with Lings and Speedbanes and just eats through it, then suddenly Rhett might be even. He might even be in a small lead. And that's a great way to come back, is just having like a surprising number of Lings and Banes. Alright, so it looks like Poopy has decided it is time to move out, showing the Hellions. Banes on the way. Stim not even near done yet. Good choice there to scan. Taking out as many tumors as he possibly can. Rhett luckily still has one that's still up there. Alright, so we have a lot of Banes on the way, and Stim is not done. Now, has he seen these Banes? Well, that's the area where he has not been able to see. So, looks like he has not seen the Banes morphing yet. And if he sees those Banes morphing, he has to wait for Stim. If he doesn't think there's Banes, if he thinks, oh, it's just Lings and the 2 spines, then maybe he can still go. But of course, the Banes against unstimmed, uncombat shielded Marines could do very well. And that's a little bit greedy. Okay, so that is pretty greedy by Poopy. He's just attacking in, not waiting for that Stim. He got himself far ahead this game, but this is not the best way to get further ahead. And that's the rule once again. And that happens a lot when people play famous people like Rhett, and they say, oh my god, I'm ahead, I better try to finish him off. No, what you should do is try to get more ahead. What if Poopy techs into a completely normal, solid, tank push with siege tanks and siege modes, stim, combat shields, and just pushes across the map at a reasonable pace? What does Rhett do against that? That's going to be very difficult for him. Even though Rhett's the better player, that's super difficult for him to stop, because it's just this solid unit composition that is tried and tested and proven. So that would be the best way. That's him getting further ahead. That's him making a situation that's going to be so hard for Rhett to actually deal with. This situation is a little bit wonky. This is like something you do if you're not already ahead, because maybe Rhett's playing more normal, because he's, he wants to be able to crush things that are very powerful, like the tank push. This is kind of a wonky, cheesy thing he's doing. And that's greedy. He's already done a kind of cheesy thing this game and gotten ahead, and now Rhett looks like he may end up punishing him for doing this. Not huge, but I mean, he killed off enough that this attack is basically over, for all intents and purposes. Rhett making a lot of Zerglings now. He said, okay, I see what's going on here. You made a lot of Marines, you made a lot of Hellions. That means that right now your siege tank count, it might be non-existent. It matters if you were still rallying in Hellions. You did kind of, this other attack that it did not work out. Rhett is catching up a little bit in supply. His drone count is getting, it's still not the best. It's getting up there though, 38. He does have the 2 hatches, and I want to see what he wants to do when this layer is done. Does he just throw down a spire? That is what I'm interested about. Let's go ahead and look at what Poopy is doing. Looks like he's going into 2 factory siege tanks. That's a good choice. I like that a lot. He does have this one rallied over there. Hopefully he does not just send the siege tanks over as he makes them. But, yeah, I mean, this is what he should have done from the get-go. You know, when we watch the push later, think about all the Marines that died, and the Hellions that didn't really do anything. Sometimes that will kill your opponent, but if those units were in his next push, I guarantee you the next push looks scarier. Let's take a look. What is Rhett doing here? Evolution Chamber, fine. Looks like taking that gold base, another way to try to catch up a little bit. But we don't see what he's doing with the layer tech yet. That's kind of interesting. He's gotten that layer at a reasonable speed, but no choices with it yet. Go ahead and speed this up a little bit and try to figure out. Okay, there we go, Baneling speed. So a super quick Baneling speed. Again, he was spreading his creep as soon as possible this game. Banelings with speed on creep that has a pretty decent spread so far. It's a good choice for attempting that comeback. Let's take a look. Nothing that spectacular happening right now. Interesting, he wants to repair with these SCVs, it looks like. Unfortunately, Mule came off too. You know, it looks like Poopy is just like a little bit, you know, flustered this game. So yeah, the SCVs go back. Looks like he wants to take his third. All good. +1 melee on the way. Good choice, especially if you're going to be making so many Lings and Banelings. So this is really smart of Rhett. So many Zergs would actually just throw down a Spire and try to come back and never have a chance in hell. But Rhett is doing what I was talking about before. You know, he's going to have a really kind of weird, huge amount of Lings and Banelings with speed. And that is just going to help out immensely. You know, like, for instance, this attack is out here, and he's actually spreading against Banes, which is nice. But Rhett's making a lot of Lings as well. Let's see, how many Lings does he have right now? He has 18 out, and he has 12 more on the way. So he's going to have a good 30 Lings, plus, how many Banes? Looks like he's going to have 6 Banes. And, you know, just the Lings alone are going to do a huge number on all these units, and then the Banes come up. He's going to basically be able to clean up all these units, and, you know, suddenly Rhett has killed off a couple attacks. And he's on his way to recovery. He's going to want to do it before this hatchery goes down, that's for sure. Yeah, well done. So he does get to clean that up. So now the supplies, let's take a look at those. Poopy keeps going up around 80 supply and attacking and losing all his units, then remaking units. That's twice now that Rhett has killed off attacks. And as I was saying before, you know, he's behind. Maybe he should go Ling Baneling, clean up attacks, crush attacks as best he can, and maybe he can get even or even ahead. And at this point, I would say he's right around even. Look at the supply, 79 to 74. Rhett's getting his third base, which is a gold. You know, his Baneling speed is going to finish up pretty soon. What does Poopy really have going for him? He has some mediocre amount of Marines. How many siege tanks does he have? He has 3. That's good. He's shouldn't be in any dangerous situation. It's not like he's going to die or anything. But Poopy has given up his lead by continually attacking when he was ahead, and thus giving Rhett a situation where he could come back. He's playing into the hands of Rhett. Rhett's saying, what's a mistake this guy might make? Continuing to attack me because I'm hurt. So this is great. I'm so happy to see Rhett actually do this. So many people do not actually do smart tech moves and stuff in this situation. Oh my god. I like don't even know what to say about that. I don't know why his tanks were right there. But yeah, I mean, Rhett runs in and kills the tanks. Huge move right there, killing off 2 tanks for free at this point. At this point, I would say, you know, Rhett is even in the lead. Obviously, we're going to have Terran taking the gold, which could definitely put him into the lead, but Mule coming out for the gold moves, that's so cute. But you know, Rhett is in a good position. He's killed off those 2 tanks. That's huge. He's killed off a bunch of units. That's huge. Supply-wise, still relatively close. Spire is on the way for Rhett. He is getting a bunch more gas going. Is it a good time to switch into Muta? It might be. You know, now that it's more of an even game, now that he sees that his opponent is producing a lot of siege tanks, that might be the right choice. Because against too many siege tanks, ground units are just going to evaporate. So Ling, Bane, Muta could be a good choice at this point. But you know, with reducing those tank numbers, Banelings are going to be a lot more powerful as well. But he is going 2 fact tanks, right? Yeah, he has 2 facts. Not necessarily always producing, but... So let's take a look here. Rhett, I believe, has seen this. Yeah, obviously he has. I mean, there's stimmed and hurt Marines. Wasn't really paying attention to that. 10 mutas on the way. Yeah, looks like he's going to be able to clean this up very easily. Poopy probably wants to try to snipe this hatch. Don't think that's really too likely to happen, especially all these lings nearby on the creep. Looks like Rhett starting to clear these rocks. I like that preemptive rock clearing. Like, what are the odds of Terran units being over here right now? He can really have some lings clean these up easily, and then he has access back here when and if the Terran expands there. Of course, he can try to do some funny run by where he kills these rocks and runs Banes up or something, but I don't expect to see that. This is more of slow down or harass the 4th base of Terran. But one thing Rhett has to be really careful about is this gold base. Terran dropping a bunch of mules here and securing this area of the map here in front of everything. This is a very powerful area for him to have on Shattered Temple. This is a place where not only is he defending this super valuable base, but this is almost in the middle of the map. So this is a good location for him to push from. So he has his solid defense and pushing from it towards Rhett. This could become an issue. So Rhett, with these 10 mutas that are popping out after he deals with any drops, anything like that, he needs to start flying around and seeing if he can break the Terran, because the Terran is a little bit spread out. He has stuff up here. He is making some missile turrets and stuff, but he has depots, he has the engineering bay, he has production facilities. Most of the units are down here, so he wants to try to drive units back into the main base, drive this Terran around and take some control with the mutas, force the Terran into situations he doesn't want, so that, maybe, just maybe, then he can come down here and do some damage, maybe clear out this gold base, and if he can do that, I mean, that's going to probably result in a victory. Yeah, it's not going to work out. Plenty of mutas. Clean that up pretty easily. Alright, so let's talk about this push timing. This is kind of a interesting push timing. He has a very good number of siege tanks. Obviously 6 siege tanks, if they're sieged up and spread out well, are going to make it very difficult for Banelings to actually connect. Now, if Rhett has a ton of Zerglings right now, that's going to help out against this. We see no medevacs, and in fact, Combat Shield is about to finish. So that's going to help out, but just having this many siege tanks but no medevacs are going to make just Lings connecting with Marines at all very, very powerful, because the siege tank splash plus the Zergling damage is going to add up on these Marines quite quickly. And if the Marines start to go down at all, then the mutas are going to come in and just clean things up, especially, once again, because there are no medevacs. And we do see the mutas are over here harassing. This is a great move against the counter push. Just do a little bit of damage, then maybe bring them back to help deal with this. He's cutting off reinforcements as well. Good move there by Rhett. And he just is going to want to stall a little bit. He needs to get as many units as possible. Notice he's making 12 more Lings, 14 more Banes. He's got some more mutas over here. He needs to crush this at the last possible second. That is basically the most powerful way to play against Terran and Zerg. You want to, at the last second, make all your units and crush the army. That's what you always want to do in theory. That's that's Savior style from StarCraft 1. That's what Nest-T attempts to do most of the time. It's just really, really smart. So we'll see when he engages. My thought is he's going to try to slow him down a little bit, like pretend he's going to engage, if possible, if there's some way for him to actually do that right now. Hopefully make Poopy siege and unsiege a couple times and push slowly forward. And then right as Poopy's starting to get up, and he'll probably go for the gold. So right as Poopy's around here, once he kills off the Spinecrawler and sieges starts to move forward, that's probably the timing Rhett is going to use to try to crush this, especially if things are unsieged. So let's go ahead and slow this down and take a look. Alright, sieging up. Good. And that stim is... I don't know why that stim just occurred right there. No true reason for it. He's moving forward a little bit slowly. Now, this is a very hurt hatch, but this is not a group of Marines that really should be right-clicking on that hatch, because Rhett can move up and easily destroy it. These siege tanks should be leapfrogging forward a little bit quicker, just pulling up some of them, leave some siege so that when the Banelings come, you're fine. You know, obviously, killing off any creep tumors at this point is very important just to get things to recede, and also a huge part of it, not let Rhett have vision under the army of Poopy. So let's take a look. The Muta's coming back. Rhett's getting ready to crush this force, and oops, a big mistake there. Almost loses 2 Mutas. And of course, as I said, this probably not the best idea to actually move up here with these Marines. Looks like he is actually going to end up getting it, so it turns out that it works. Unfortunately, Rhett a little bit slow on actually cleaning up these Marines that came up a little bit too far, and he will lose the hatch. But that was a dangerous thing. And now, how many Marines does Poopy have? He has all these tanks in the middle, but how many Marines? That's his entire Marine force. And let's see the upgrades. No plus attack, no plus armor, no medevacs. Even though he's killing this off, he's losing a decent chunk of his army. There were more Marines up here, so he's losing a decent chunk. Now, would Rhett trade this one hatchery basically for a free kill on all the siege tanks of Poopy and a bunch of his Marines? Yeah, you better believe he would. That is a great trade for Rhett. And let's go back and look. What is Poopy going to have left? He's adding another factory, which is kind of odd because he's not really producing out of these factories all at the same time. This area is undefended. What does he have here? 1 bunker? Just Marines in production? Where are your medevacs? I don't even know. There's oh, I guess there's 1 medevac on the way, but these mutas might catch it. This is a bad situation for Poopy. Once he loses this army, Rhett can come over here and just kill what he wants. He's producing a ton more lings. And as long as Rhett just makes a bunch of speedbanes and stuff, how many siege tanks does Poopy have after that? After these 6 die, he's going to have 1 at home that just popped out. The counterattack is going to probably kill Poopy this game. So this was basically, all in all, this was not a good push timing at all. All the attacks of Poopy are not doing all that well. So we finally do have a medevac here, which helps, but it's only 1. Ooh, that is absolutely the opposite of good. Obviously, you don't want to do that. Just a small mistake by Rhett. You know, he's busy doing all sorts of things. That +2 melee attack almost done. Burrow on the way. I think Rhett's probably just going to wait for the +2 melee to finish and then just spread his units out and attack into this. He has to kill this army. This army's... it's such a free army. My cat and dog are playing so roughly. But this is such a free army. And again, this is... all Rhett needs to do is crush this army, and he is going to have run of the map. It's going to be like impossible to come back. So +2, almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done. And in fact, ooh, I like this move as well. Rhett continuing to produce some more units. Looks like he's going to move around and cut off reinforcements and maybe start harassing things. And the thing is, how does Poopy go back there? I mean, Rhett can just run in and crush this army now, but if he goes back, Poopy may just unsiege, at which point, I mean, this is even more free than it is now, because right now, it can be crushed. But if these tanks aren't sieged, Rhett will barely lose anything. It'll be, like, insanely one-sided. So, excuse me, this is a really smart move by him. This poor Poopy just has no chance. And, well, see, down goes all these reinforcements, never going to make it there. And we're just waiting to see if Poopy does unsiege this stuff, because Rhett right now is going to do a ton of damage against him. He's got to be careful not to lose these mutas, though. They're very, very important. And yeah, there we go. He's unsieged. So, and even stimming these units. So this is a scenario where if Rhett realizes this and sends all his units, this is something he should be thinking about. That is going to happen. He knows there's units out there. He knows there's a free army. He needs to get away from all the units that are over here and crush this. He doesn't really want to be flanked. You obviously don't want to be flanking. Terran's doing flanking, you're in trouble. So just a hugely powerful counterattack. All the tanks on siege right now. I really kind of wish Rhett was poking in there, prodding in there a little bit more to figure out exactly what's going on. And the Marines do get back. Tanks still in siege, taking out the medevacs. I mean, this has worked out very well, and he's still dealing a lot of damage. The absolute optimal play would be crushing this army before it gets back here, though. And now it's in like these choke points and stuff. It's going to do fine, and looks like the game may, in fact, even go on. You're going to pick off... No, not quite picking off siege tanks, but... Anyways, Poopy's army, even though he's somehow has these siege tanks alive, you know, reducing the number of siege tanks is so important in the matchup because the siege tanks are the only things that keep Terran alive. Infestors and banelings would be so unbelievably, imbalanced, so broken if Terran didn't have siege tanks. That's how they deal with it. And so I'm a little bit upset that Rhett didn't kill off the siege tanks. It's one of the most important parts because without these 6 siege tanks, I mean, if it's just Marines sitting around with minimal upgrades, Ling Muta Bane is going to roll through these bases so easily. Anyways, the game does continue. Rhett is way ahead in supply now. Taking the map a little bit. Good choice when you've killed off the army enough, done enough damage. It's like, well, I can expand. You can't do much about that. Our repair is pretty good. Nothing too exciting going on right now. Good choice to make a Thor. The Mutilis count is getting up there. He looks like he has no intention of taking this back base yet. Probably should lift off the main command center if he's not going to mine from these geysers anymore. I like, by the way, that Rhett has not gone up to Hive yet. I think it's still a great situation for him to just sit there and macro up. And now we have Poopy moving out again. Now let's look at this move out. Rhett does have a few Lings here and there, looking like they want to counterattack. The Thor is going to be massively helpful. Again, the scary part of this push is the siege tanks. Now let's imagine Rhett crushed the army instead of, the way he really handled it. Take out 6 of those siege tanks. How many siege tanks are left? It looks like 3. He'd have 3 left. And 3 siege tanks with this army is nothing. That's not scary at all. Even when you reduce some of the units that are over here, because obviously if he had engaged that army with his Banes, with his Lings, he would have lost some of it. But still, that's something that he could have crushed through much easier. So this is still a pretty scary push that Rhett has to deal with. I mean, the scan was smart, but he should have really gone after the creep terms a little bit more there. Now that's a pretty fearsome spread of siege tanks. That's actually going to be pretty hard to get into. The Thor going to help out amazingly. Nice counterattacks though by Rhett. He's really putting Poopy in a situation where he needs to win with this push. And as long as Rhett stalls it out, of course, you're always going to break it if you stall it out enough. He does have that +2 melee, very important, against just +1 of his opponent. Oh, alright. Now, here we go. He is just going to lead with the Lings. Very smart. Magic box that Thor. And just, it almost doesn't matter what he's hitting at this point, because he has so much more. It looks like that. I mean, that has to be game, right? Poopy's not going to stay in here 25 supply, is he? Alright. So, interesting game. There's, I would say the main things to take away from this game. Here, we'll just go ahead and let it finish while I'm talking. The main things to take away from this game, if you get... Well, Poopy, how can you lose that? Watch the Artosis Hour, and you will learn the mistakes of what you did. But no, I mean, Poopy's opening very strong. He did mismanage it a little bit. I feel like it may have been able to just kill Rhett outright if he had microed completely correctly the entire time. So that's something important to think of. You have to deal maximum damage non-stop with your Marines. You cannot let them sit idly in a bunker rush. So that's the first place where it could have ended. The second place is if he didn't do like a kind of weird attack that allowed Rhett to come back by crushing the army. And, also I do want to mention about killing armies as Zerg. It's one of the most important things that you can do. You need to crush armies as much as possible. Rhett, he won the game pretty handily. He was way ahead after those counterattacks, but in a closer game, I feel like taking out those siege tanks could have been, after a little bit of harassment, a better move. Alright, let's take a look here. Well, there is a few minutes left in this hour, but I'm actually feeling like crap today. So I think I'm going to go ahead and close it out a little bit early. Sorry about that. I do have to go get ready for MLG. I am leaving in the morning, and I got GOM tonight. So anyways, guys, make sure you watch GOM TV tonight. I got to make them public, but I have some of the episodes of the Artosis Hour uploaded to YouTube. So I'll do that in a little bit here and let everyone know via Twitter. Make sure you follow me on there. I am Artosis on Twitter. And check out my YouTube, youtube.com/ArtosisTV. I'll have at least 3 or 4 of the episodes up on YouTube today. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I got to get out of here, so I will see y'all later.